I wanted to ask Ambassador Matlock, you referred to in your testimony that you had some additional views on how we could reduce tension. You also said that, I believe you said that one thing that we shouldn't do is increase our military involvement or require payments from NATO countries, and then you cautioned on taking on liabilities. And I was wondering, the ranking member is talking about legislation that would impose additional sanctions, and I wondered about your comments within that context, and if we did impose additional sanctions, would that be an example of the liabilities that you were concerned about?
Yes, thank you very much for the question. Obviously, in just a few minutes, I cannot go into great detail. Let me first address the issue of Ukraine and Crimea. I think everything said by the others has been correct, but they have taken a lot of things out of context. And frankly, I do not agree that our new national security is significantly affected by what happens in Ukraine. I think we have to put things, have certain priorities. And second, I am certain there is no way to solve the problem militarily. Let's look at reality. Russia, given its history, given its close association, is not going to allow the Ukrainian situation to be solved militarily. So giving military aid, encouraging a military response, simply causes more damage to the area. And it's not going to be solved that way. The basic thing we have to bear in mind, and this is unfortunate, but it is reality, and that is you cannot have a united, prosperous Ukraine which does not have close relations with Russia. And the second thing is, if you look at the politics and history and the economics, Ukraine is better off without Crimea. Now, I don't like the way Russians took it, and we should not recognize it, as we don't. However, to think that by bringing pressure to bear on them, we can make them change their policy simply plays into Putin's hands, because it makes it a national issue. So any attempts to use military force or to encourage them will make the situation worse. Now, that's one thing. Now, on and this is true of some of these other issues. Obviously, terrorism is a threat to both of us. I think that we need to define our aims as to what the ultimate aim is. Our aim in Syria should not be to remove the leader, whoever he is. Our aim should be to do what we can to keep the country from falling apart, to keep ISIS out, to keep the refugees out of Europe. Now, the Russian opinion has been you will get more chaos in Syria if you remove the current regime, the way we did in Iraq, the way we did in Libya. They've got a point. Can't we understand that?
Can I ask you
I think what we need to do is to concentrate on those areas where our interests are and find better ways to do them. As far as Russia's internal government, Russians are going to decide that. And to the degree that we try to interfere, they look at it just as we looked at the Communist Party during the Cold War.
Okay.
That as if our democratization efforts are simply in opposition to the current regime. They're going to react to that.
Let me ask Ambassador McFaul. I wanted to ask one question, and thank you very much, Ambassador Matlock. What do you see as the future? I mean, do you think that Putin is going to make a switch again? I don't know when his quote-unquote term is over, but do you think that he will switch again and become the prime minister and prop up another president? What is your best guess?
So, first of all, I just want to be clear about this. To the degree that which we interfere, Putin's going to react. I totally agree with Ambassador Matlock on that. What I disagree is the assumption that somehow we are interfering. We did not give one penny to the Democratic opposition when I was in the U.S. government. And I just want to make that clear because I think you said perceptions. Well, perceptions have to be rebutted when they're not true, okay? We are not fomenting revolution in Russia.
But we had an Assistant Secretary of State speaking on a telephone cell phone that could be monitored, talking about who should be the prime minister of Ukraine in a revolutionary situation.
I
Now,
was
what are the
thinking about
Russians
Russia,
going to
not
think
Ukraine.
about that?
Well, that was a mistake. I agree with you.
Not only was it a mistake, it was...
It was a mistake, but if you want to know the full details, it was the mistake in
And
the
you wonder about perceptions?
Well, let me give you the...
If it had happened
Ambassador,
in Cuba or Mexico, how would we have reacted?
So let me give you the full context of that conversation if you're interested. The conversation was about how to get a coalition government together with President Yanukovych. We, the United States government, the Obama administration, were seeking to diffuse tensions on the streets. And we, on February 21st, worked hard with our European allies to cut a deal between the opposition and Mr. Yanukovych. President Yanukovych, the vice president called him about a dozen times to cut a deal between him and the street. We were not trying to overthrow Mr. Yanukovych. And 12 hours later, for some unexpected reason, he showed up in Rostov. To this day, I don't know why he fled. So
My
you said we
question
need context?
about
There's
Putin?
a little context. to that.
Hello.
But I want to come back to your question.
Thank you.